Welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Shively, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and I'm on a 1 million pound mission. Now, I've personally lost over 100 pounds, and I've applied what I've learned from my own transformation journey to help my hometown clients lose over 35,000 pounds in just 5 years. Now I'm on a mission to produce over 1 million pounds of results by delivering my best weekly tips, motivation, inspirational stories, and transformation strategies so that you can gain clarity about what you need to do to reach your goals and give you the confidence to take action. The perfect time to start taking action is right now. So let's do this. This episode is sponsored by Four Sigmatic. I'm so excited to have them on board as a sponsor because I have been using their products and loving them for the past several months. I initially heard about their products on another podcast. I checked them out and just fell in love with the quality, the digestibility. My favorite things, I like to wake up in the morning and take a little bit of the cordyceps extract. I just dissolve it in some hot water, drink it like tea or hot coffee. And then about midday, I do some chaga. And chaga has been shown to give you a nice immune system boost. So this is a great time of year with flu season coming around. It's important to keep that immune system strong. And then every once in a while, I need a little bit of extra something to get me to sleep. Maybe I've had a really energized day. I've done a bunch of killer podcasts and I need to calm down a little bit. So I'll either do some reishi or I'll do a sleep stick pack, and that gets the job done. So check out foursigmatic.com. That's FOURSIGMATIC.com. Foursigmatic.com. Use the promotion code MPM as in Million Pound Mission, MPM, and you're going to save 15%. Check them out. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Million Pound Mission Podcast. It's your buddy Adam, the PhD, the previously heavy dude. How's it going out there? I am psyched about this one, episode number 95. Getting up there, 95. This is a 70-pound success story, a client profile with my good friend Brooke H. And I haven't done a client profile in a while. Just because I've been so jam-packed with topics and interviews and all this cool stuff. But I wanted to start bringing more of the people that are in the trenches having great success and bring their stories out there to you guys. So I look forward to more of these types of interviews. As long as you want more of them, you got to let me know, right? Hit me up on Instagram, transformationcoach.me, let me know. But Brooke is on fire. And I like taking people that are on fire and plugging them in and putting them out in front of other people and saying, hey, here's what I'm doing. Success leaves clues. You can do this too. All right. Brooke is an awesome individual, but her story and her circumstances aren't like unique and special. You guys can duplicate what she's doing. She's very relatable, and I think you're going to love this interview. So as Brooke and I dive in, we talk about her transformation journey, what it looked like before we got connected. She's in my academy. She's a hometown client as well. So she plugs into pretty much everything. Now she's actually one of my coaches. I brought her up through the ranks. She's got great results now. She's out there leading the charge. We talk about her initial motivation to get going. We talk about if she could go back to when she first started and give herself some advice, what that would look like. And we talked about the hardest part about her transformation journey so far. And then probably my favorite part of the interview was when we talked about what advice she would give somebody that if you know you're out there and you want to make some healthy changes and you're just a little bit scared to take that first step, what advice she would give you. So this interview rocks. I think you'll get a lot out of it. All right. Brooke is awesome. And you guys are just going to have a great little motivation session here. Without further ado, here is 70-pound success story, Brooke Hostetler. Brooke, welcome to the Million Pound Mission Podcast. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you, Adam?
I'm great, and I know you're a longtime listener of this show, and it's probably kind of weird that you're now on the show, and eventually you'll be listening to your show. So that's kind of cool, I think. But you've had an amazing transformation with our program, and I wanted to kind of spotlight you and pick your brain a little bit and share your story. So I wanted to start and have you talk a little bit about what your transformation journey kind of looked like before we got connected. Let's start there.
Okay. Well, I've always been pretty active, and I didn't really have a lot of issues with weight until maybe my 20s, when I started slowing down after high school and especially getting into graduate school. So I met my husband, and we started dating, and I would say that was when I really started gaining weight. And then I got a desk job. I'm a high school guidance counselor, and we had a few kids, and I never really lost the baby weight from my first child, and I just kept, adding every time I had a baby. We have 3 kids. So I really started just getting, I think, into a bad place too with stress eating. I work full time. I have 3 kids, and I easily reach for cookies. Seem to be my nemesis when I feel stressed or overwhelmed, which happens a lot, as you probably know, with kids of your own. So I started trying a bunch of different things throughout my life. I have used Weight Watchers. I've done Diet Bet. I have done the 21-day sugar detox because I think I started realizing that I really had a problem with sugar and just being kind of addicted to carbs. I've used a program called the 7-Day Jumpstart by Natalie Jill. I've used a lot of them, and a lot of them are really great programs. The 21-day sugar detox, and specifically, really taught me a lot about my body and what I need to eat to feel good, because I was eating less carbs. It was not carb-free by any means, but just, less carbs, more healthy fats, more lean proteins, more vegetables. And I started feeling what it can be like to not be sugar crashing all the time. And but I never was able to stay accountable. And there was one time that I was on, I really just logged on MyFitnessPal, and I was running, and I was able to lose quite a bit of weight. And I was in a really good place. I felt really good, and I was only accountable to myself. And I was really just inspired internally to keep going. And I was meeting goals with running half marathon and things like that. And then I got pregnant with my 3rd child, my daughter, who I'll be honest, I was in a good place. I didn't want to have another baby, and I was so devastated to, interrupt all this healthy momentum I had, because pregnancy had been it'd been something that really caused me to backslide with my health always. And I never could seem to get past that. But obviously she's amazing. The light of she's a joy. So I'm so glad that she's here, but I never got past it. After I had my daughter, I was never able to get where I could be self-accountable in any form again. I just never, life would happen. I would make excuses. I would get stressed, and I overeat, and then I beat myself up, and then I'd say start again Monday, and it just, I was in the black hole fitness doom. That's
Yes.
where I was.
Good podcast reference there, yeah. Brooke. So I want to
real thing.
Yeah, I want to pause you right there for a second, because I think that there are so many moms in particular, and I'm sure it happens to dads too, but especially with moms, with that just mother instinct connection, the hormonal connection, all the things going on with your body once you give birth.
Yeah.
I see so many moms that just exactly what you just described. They just give up everything for that child, and they just, they're not sleeping, they're not eating correctly, they're not exercising, and it's all, that initial instinct, that bond happens. But the thing is, initially, that's just part of nature. That's the way we're built.
It is.
But we have to learn to kind of phase out of that and get back into our goals and get back into our health and fitness, because overall, that's the best thing for our family, no matter what. Is a healthy mommy is good for everybody. So I think that's where a lot of moms, they never make that transition from the initial like birth and post-birth phase to let's get back to business here. They just don't realize that. They don't know how to get out of that. And, I've been pretty successful with helping moms do that. So, but it's taken a lot of work and getting a lot of moms through the program to get that bridge kind of built and figured out. So, and I think you're somebody that we've had a lot of success with, in doing that. So what was your initial motivation? You've gone through all these programs kind of back and forth. You ended up in the Black Hole Fitness Doom a lot.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
What made the difference with getting plugged into my program? What was your initial motivation to get started with me?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me tell you, when you said it's so important to model that for our kids, just the other day, my daughter told me when she grows up, she wants to be healthy like me. And that was an awesome moment for me. Yeah, I love that. Okay. So my initial motivation. So I broke my foot. I was in a little bike accident. I broke my foot and always had been able to be an exerciser. So because that's really important to my mental health. And I naturally have a lot of muscle, I think, from my dad. And so I feel like my body just kind of needs that to help relieve the stress of being, just busy. And so when I broke my foot, man, that really derailed me. And so probably a good year, I really was eating terrible. I was not exercising, which is, if I'm not exercising, that's bad. So I wasn't exercising. I was in just such a bad place. And I just remember feeling, I can still remember it. It's just the grossest feeling of lethargic, unmotivated. I'm pretty social. I almost turned into some antisocial hermit. I didn't want to leave the house. I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. I wasn't just feeling tight clothing or just feeling uncomfortable with how I look. It was actually feeling like I wasn't in my own body. And I was miserable. And I knew something had to be done. But once again, I couldn't motivate myself on my own. And one day I was sitting on my couch and I was being sedentary as usual. And I was flipping through Facebook and I saw a blog. I follow our local YMCA on Facebook, and there was a blog, and it was written by this woman named Sue Reynolds, who used to be she used to be one of my professors or one of my teachers in college. And I was like, is that my Sue Reynolds? So I clicked on it, and she had lost over 200 pounds, or maybe right at 200. And so, of course, I was interested. I started reading her story, and it's amazing. She's now a world-class triathlete. I mean, talk about an amazing success story. But she mentioned your gym in the blog, and she talked about the accountability, how that was the time that she lost the most weight during her weight loss journey because of the accountability. And that word accountability just really stuck out to me. I knew that is what I needed, that there was no other way. It had to be somebody else, probably not a family member even, that would probably cave if I was really adamant that I needed that, sweet treat or whatever. I needed a stranger maybe even to motivate me and get me started until I found my own momentum. And so I literally got off Facebook, called, talked to our wonderful Marcy from NGPT, and got started on March 13th, and I have never looked back.
And that's an amazing story. I think so many people, I think a lot of people that are listening right now might be in that place where you were. And I just hear a similar story from a lot of people that get started with, whether it's my fitness, my gym, or working with me online or in the Facebook group or whatever. And they, just like what you said, they just kind of almost have given up hope because you've tried a lot of stuff and you've put a lot of effort into it. You always end up kind of back in the same place. And then you just start to wonder, like, is this just another thing that I'm going to do and then end up back here again? And that's, it's a really, really tough place to be. It's kind of like you're at the base of the mountain and you're looking all the way up at the top going, man, it's been hard the previous 3 or 4 times I've done this. And is it even worth trying anymore? So I'm glad that the hardest part, when I just started a new personal training client last week, and I said, hey man, good job. You did the hardest part. You walked through the door. And that's really what it is. And with my stuff, it's like you stand in front of this momentum I'm creating and you keep standing in front of it, and good things are going to happen because this is different and this is your time. Yeah. So let's talk about your results too. Like you've been going since last March. So you're approaching your year anniversary here. We're coming up on it. That's crazy. That's only been 10 months. So last 10 months, what kind of things have you seen as far as, your fitness and all that, but also like what's the scale saying and the measurements and all that? Let's talk about your results.
Oh, okay. So I dropped 70 pounds. I've pretty much maintained that loss since, the end of October, probably. I do have further goals for getting leaner. But I'm kind of just trying to maintain right now. That's my goal. I think I may have lost over a foot off my waist.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy.
I don't know the exact numbers. And I don't even know how many clothes sizes I went down because I think I probably was wearing my clothes too tight when I very first started, honestly. So I don't even know. So those are my numbers, really. Yeah. I mean, I did measure anywhere else but my waist. But that's been a huge improvement. I feel 1,000 times better, and that is the best part.
Yeah, so let's dive a little bit deeper on that. How are you feeling? How are you performing? Like, what's your energy level like? And, 'cause I know you are connected with one of my personal training groups that I meet with you guys every Sunday, and you're getting a lot stronger and you're being able to make a lot of progress on things like your deadlifts and your pull-ups and things like that. So how's that feel for you?
It feels awesome. When I very first started classes in March, I remember not being able to do a full 20 seconds of burpees because they just made me dizzy and feel sick. And now I can knock out a bunch of burpees at once, and I've progressed to doing full push-ups, which I always told myself I couldn't do full push-ups. Doing pull-ups, that's another. Upper body strength has always been something I haven't had much of, and so I think that's the thing that makes me the most proud is being able to do pull-ups and push-ups and just stuff like that highlight all the goals that I'm reaching that I never thought I would achieve. That I always said, I just don't have upper body strength. I'm just strong. My legs are just strong.
Yeah, yeah, and it's cool to see that progress happen because, like you said, you were that person that was just nervous about getting started and wondering if this is even going to work. And now we've blown through these goals and setting new levels of goals. Like I want to be able to deadlift a bunch of weight. I want to be able to do pull-ups and all this really neat next level type stuff. And I've got Brooke in a pretty serious personal training group. Like these ladies don't play and they are strong and they are veterans. I know that you were a little bit.
They are badasses.
Yeah, you're a little nervous coming in, and the other day we were doing a little AMRAP with some rower and some burpees, and you were just knocking the pace out. And one of the gals next to you who's lost over 100 pounds, she's like, "Where did this girl come from?" It was awesome. And you're just out there.
It's the cordyceps, Adam.
Yeah. Four Sigmatic. Shout out. She likes the cordyceps. So that, it's just so cool to see that kind of progress. So I want you to think about, where you are now and where you started. Let's say that you could travel back and talk to the you that was just getting started. What type of advice would you give yourself if you could talk to that person that was just getting started?
Okay. I would tell myself be patient, to be steadfast, to keep showing up physically and mentally every day. That planning will be your best friend. It will be your key to success. And that when you mess up, you just start right over today. You start over the next meal, or you start over, you miss a class, you just make it to the next one. Don't beat yourself up, just move on.
Yes. That's awesome. And you embody a lot of the principles that I really try to teach through the podcast. And that's something else that I feel like is pretty interesting. It seems like with my local clients like yourself, if I can get my local clients to plug into this info, the results are so much better. I know that a lot of them still don't listen to the show. So boo on that. But
I started listening to your podcast really early.
I know. I think that was a huge advantage because I remember that you emailed me. I hadn't even met you in the gym yet. But you emailed me like, hey, I've got a question. And I was like, well, I did a podcast on this, listen to it. And you were like, oh my God, I just listened to all of them, and you like binge listened. But I think it's a huge advantage. And it's, the way I explain it to my local clients, a lot of them, they feel like, oh, I live in the same town as him, so I'm getting all of his best information. But, I'm busy enough now where I can't sit down for an hour every week and just talk to each client and give them the best advice I could possibly give. But
the best part about the podcast is that you can listen to it over and over again too.
Yeah.
Like the ones on goal setting, I probably listened to them 15 times while I was trying to formulate my goals because I needed to hear it that many times just to nail it down.
Yeah. And that's the thing is with the show, you can plug in and listen as often as you need to. And you can say, oh, I'm struggling with this specific thing. I'm going to listen to that show again because it's his best stuff. And I give tools and all that. So that's my little mini rant on what my local clients need to be doing. But it's just kind of a new thing. Podcasting is new. They're not used to me being out here in the media and all this stuff. And it's just kind of different. And we're getting people plugged in slowly and surely. But the ones that do, if you are one of my local clients listening to this, pat on the back, keep doing it because you will get better results, just like our friend Brooke. So that's what we want. Now, I know it's not been all sunshine and rainbows for you. Like, doing a 70-pound transformation is hard. And there's a lot of roadblocks. There are a lot of mental things you have to get over. What would you say is the hardest part of your journey so far over the last 10 months?
Okay, so the hardest part would be not falling back into that typical American thought process of everything revolving around food.
Yeah.
So when you go to the movies, you have to have popcorn. When you go to the birthday parties, you have to have the cake and ice cream. Football equals wings and beer. It is part of what always made things fun for me. I mean, gosh, I would go to things because of the food, and now I'm having to learn that it's okay to not eat what everybody else is eating and not be just like everyone else. In order to see the results that I want. I mean, I didn't get here I didn't get to the point where I needed to lose 70 pounds, by abstaining. I was always involved with eating the food. So that's been a tough transition at times, but I found that the planning helps so much. And the other thing is just eating before you go, because you're not as tempted by the stuff when you're satisfied and full.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's kind of a double-edged sword where I want people to get out and be social and interact and not be like, this has to be, I've talked about that health lifestyle balance a lot on the show, and we need to achieve that. There's a process to get there, and Brooke has gone through that process. Like, she sacrificed some of that going out and being social so that she could learn how to handle those situations first. And then we get back out there. But she's at a point now where I feel like she's very confident. She's got an amazing plan. Will she always hit a home run and be 100% on point when she hits a social situation? Probably not. But she knows how to handle that and recover from it effectively. So we're okay either way. And so many people, like you said, they go out and they feel that social pressure of being like everyone else. But we all have to realize that is mainly inside our own head. And other people aren't going, well, I see Brooke isn't eating the nachos tonight, and what's wrong with it? She thinks she's better than us,
no.
Nacho eating people. Like, people aren't like that because, especially, Brooke is an awesome lady. She's got a great personality. I'm sure that she's gonna be the life of the party wherever she goes, and people like interacting with her. They don't care whether she's eating the nachos or drinking the beer. So we kind of got to get out of our own head in these situations, and there are always the people that probably are judging a little bit, but those are the ones that you just got to let them. Just do their thing, ignore it, and eventually they'll come around. If they don't, then maybe it's a relationship that isn't to be put up on that importance level that you've had it at. So that's a decision that everybody, I've kind of cut some friends loose before, and, it's just part of the deal sometimes, but that's not the norm. Like, that's a very rare occurrence in my experience. So, no, I think you've done a great job in analyzing this situation and coming through with it. So, so good for you, Brooke.
Thank you.
Okay. So I wanted to throw a few rapid fire questions at you. And just because I know that whenever I do interviews like this, I get a ton of questions on Facebook where people just kind of want to know more about what you're doing. They're like, dang, she looks awesome. What exactly is she doing? Like, what's she eating? What's she doing for exercise? And they want to dive a little bit deeper on that. So I figured I would come up with a few rapid fire questions to dive a little bit deeper. Like, we're not going to go super deep on each one, but just so people can kind of understand what your plan looks like and what you're doing. So, all right, here we go. Favorite healthy meal. Favorite healthy meal. What's that look like?
Okay. So right now, because it's cold, I am loving my chicken and veggie detox soup, and I think everyone should know about it. So I would love to share the recipe with you, Adam, if you want to put it in the show notes. But it is so good, and it keeps me warm, and has tons of vegetables in it. And I throw in some fire roasted tomatoes and some cayenne for some spice, and it's just so healthy and yummy.
So go into it just briefly. Like, how does that get prepared?
Okay.
What does it look like?
So it's so easy. Okay, so you throw some chicken breasts in the crock pot, and I use bone broth, so it calls for chicken broth. I think it calls for eight cups maybe. I can't remember exactly. I just use one of those big cartons. And then you cut up zucchini. You could probably use any vegetable you want, honestly, but I use zucchini, bell peppers, spinach, cauliflower, celery, carrots, and then, of course, like I said, I throw in fire roasted diced tomatoes. I throw in some cayenne pepper, and you just throw it all in together, and then you let it cook, and for 8 hours on low or 10 hours, whatever, and then you pull out the chicken and you shred it, and then you throw it back in, and it's ready to go. So easy.
That sounds delicious. And so easy. I love the crock pot. I love arming people with lots of crock pot recipes. So that's legit. Okay. Next question. Favorite exercise and why?
I know you want me to say burpees, Adam, but it's not.
Oh, man. Bummer.
Okay. So anything that challenges my sense of balance, like single leg deadlifts, because I have a passion to age healthily and not be subject to falls when I get older. So that's something I'm super interested in. I also want to be agile. So anything that, makes me more quick and light on my feet. And I also really like push-ups because I always told myself I couldn't do them, and now I can knock out a few push-ups pretty well. So.
Yeah, more than a few, Brooke. You have amazing push-ups, like legit. She has great form. We're talking full push-ups, like tapping nose to ground, no joking around with the form, like really, really good push-ups. So for those of you that believe that you can never do a push-up, Brooke is a shining example that it can be done, and she rocks it. So there you go.
Well, oddly, it happened because I had an injury while I was losing the weight, and I had to focus all on upper body. And so I couldn't get on my knees. And so it was actually came out of a bad thing, but it was a really good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember your knee was all swollen up, and she couldn't, knee push-ups were not an option because she cannot put pressure on her knee. So time to learn full push-ups, Brooke. Let's do this.
Yep.
She got it done. And anybody that's on a weight loss journey, it's pretty cool when you add in strength training, like barbell work, push-ups, things like that. You hit this point where there's synergy between I'm now lighter and I'm stronger. And then you start to do some really cool stuff like full push-ups. So that's something that Brooke has experienced for sure. All right. Next up, this is probably the most important thing we're going to talk about in the entire interview. Favorite song or artist to work out to? Who is it?
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm always embarrassed to talk about my music choices, but
Good.
I love Justin Timberlake. And I think Pitbull has a really fun, dancey music. But I don't stick to a single genre at all. I like all kinds of music. I love old school hip hop, like Salt and Pepper. I love the Beastie Boys. I love Cake. I don't even know if they're still around, but I used to listen to Cake a lot. And I've even been known to listen to some Skrillex.
Oh my gosh. So eclectic. Well, Justin Timberlake, that's I can get down with some JT every once in a while. So that's
I love
good.
JT. Yeah.
That's good. All right. Now bringing it around a little more serious. I want to talk about the accomplishment you're most proud of so far. So with your entire transformation journey, what really sticks out to you that you're like, damn, I'm really proud of that?
Okay. Well, losing 70 pounds, of course, has been incredibly empowering. That's been great. But I really progressed like leaps and bounds in mentally and just like the whole way that I view food and its function in my life and my relationship to it. And so honestly, above everything else, I'm probably the most proud of that because that's really the thing that's been tripping me up, how I view food and my mental connection and my emotional connection to food. And I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means. It's just really progressed nicely. And I'm still working on it. And it's been a tough journey, but I'm honestly the most proud of that.
Yeah, and I 100% agree because we've put in a lot of work together working on taking some pressure off of yourself. Like we all do it too. Like I set this goal and I expect to hit this goal. And if something happens that's not in line with my plan and my goal, then I freak out and either give up or get upset and backtrack a little bit. So I think you've made huge progress with that. And also just being able to be comfortable in that life happens moment and handle adversity and understand the situation is do your best, just do your best. Yeah. And you've done a really nice job of that. And you've even been a good influence on, I know one of your friends, Jenna, that you brought into the program. She's lost 30 pounds now. So that's what I see with these highly successful people is people start asking, what do you do? And then you tell them, and then some of them kind of crawl in the door and you've put her on the right track. 'Cause I know Jenna listens to the show. She's plugged into all the stuff and you're like, do this way, and success leaves clues. So shout out to Jenna as well. I mean, between Brooke and her friend Jenna, they lost over 100 pounds, and that's so cool.
Yep.
That that friends can do that, and it always helps to have that wingman, that co-pilot, or that friend that you can lock arms with and do it together. So whether that's a friend, a coworker, a spouse, that always helps. So that's you're doing all the right stuff. So you're obviously you've come a long way, and now you're a leader in our local program. I've put you in a coaching position in the online community. You're interacting with people now, and now you're on the show. So let's say that there's somebody listening right now that's kind of sitting on the couch like you were, kind of feeling sorry for yourself a little bit, kind of down about everything that's been going on. Maybe an injury happened, maybe a breakup or a relationship situation happened, or they're just in that low point and they know they need to do something, but they're kind of scared to get going. Because I know there was a moment, like you were on the couch and you read that article about Sue, and there was that moment of decision, and you decided to act. You decided to put one foot in front of the other and get going. And let's say there's somebody that's listening that's at that moment of decision. What advice would you give them if they're feeling kind of nervous about that?
Oh, okay. I would say, please just start. Just start. Find a plan and commit to it and start. Don't make a mental list of all the reasons why right now isn't the best time. We've all got stuff going on in our lives. We can work around it. There's just never a best time. So I'm grateful every single day that I made that leap in March. And so if you just start and do it and show up every day and keep showing up, even if you mess up, just keep, you're not supposed to be overweight. You don't have to feel sick and tired all the time. You can do it. You can be successful. You can lose weight. You can get healthy, and you can feel good and be strong, but you just have to start.
Yes. I love it. I just read, I'm reading a book called Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. You guys should check it out. I'll put a link in the show notes. But there was a quote this morning that was along the lines of, just doing is always better than waiting around to do perfectly. So there's so many people that just wait for all the stars to align, like, oh, I've got a vacation coming up in a couple of weeks, so I got to wait until after that to get started. And the rule is just start and do and act.
Perfect is the enemy of good. Is that what they say?
Yes, exactly. So, Brooke, I appreciate you taking time to share your story. I know it can be kind of nerve-wracking putting yourself out there and doing all that. And I know you said you had to meditate right before we got on the line here.
Don't tell my secrets.
It's all good. But, you're a shining light in my program. I'm very proud of my people. And you're one of those people that is helping me inspire other people. So I just appreciate that. I think you are a total rock star, and we're going to keep following your story.
Thank you, Adam.
All right. So all you out there that have been listening in, as always, I want to challenge you to take action on something that you learned in the next 24 hours. So maybe you're that person that's sitting on the couch that needs to make a decision and just act and get started. Or maybe you're somebody that's dealing with an injury and you need to kind of get out of your own head about it and learn about just doing your best, even though you can't be at your best. All right. So think about one thing you learned or one thing that Brooke kind of inspired you to think about in this show, and take action on the next 24 hours and get started, my friends. And that's the way we get out there and we own it every meal, every workout, every day. I'll see you on the next episode. All right, I've got one quick question before you take off. Have you taken on my Subscribe for 5 challenge yet? If not, here's how it works. If I've been able to add any value to you with this episode or inspire you with the content, I want you to hit the subscribe button and give me 5 episodes. Listen to 5 episodes, and if you aren't inspired, then I get fired. All right, so you can unsubscribe. No harm, no foul, no hurt feelings by me. But I think that you're going to love the content. You're going to love the 3 shows per week that we're putting out there. So subscribe for 5, get inspired, get fired up, and get better results.